Jai. Jai Jagannath, Radhe Radhe, here we are. And today we are starting the study on the Upanishads. I have prepared an publication of the 108 Upanishads. Unfortunately, it's only in Italian. I am planning to do the English edition as well, but it's not ready yet. So I think we can manage with this one, because usually I write my books both in English and Italian. First I write in one language and then I translate into the other, depending on which one I start with. So the 108 Upanishads, this book was published in 2012, and second edition 2018. So new edition is going to be useful because I'm not in India anymore. So I update all the stuff. And there is only a short introduction, the list of the Upanishads in alphabetical order, preface to second edition, introduction. And then we go, all the Upanishads, 108. These are in alphabetical, in group. These are in groups. And the alphabetical order is here. And within brackets, I have also indicated from which Sanghita they are coming from, to which Sanghita they're attached. So in alphabetical order, we have from the Yajurveda, Rigveda, and they're under the four main Veda Sanhitas. Yajurveda has two Pakshas, the Shukla Paksha and the Krishna Paksha, the white and the black, but it's not particularly, it's not symbolic, the white and black. So we have all the, alphabetical, so preface, so the first edition, what I explain why I wrote the book and whatever. Introduction, what is the meaning of Veda, what is the difference between the dominant concept of religion, the Western sciences and the paranormal knowledge. So the Prasthanatraya means number one Bhagavad Gita, second Upanishads, third Vedanta Sutra. These are the first three steps to start studying the Vedic knowledge. And I start the fan because it's still hot. The first, what is the contents of the Veda Sanhitas, Brahmanas, and Puranas, and Itihasas, and like that. So that there is more in my book, Introduction to Vedic Knowledge. So I am mentioning the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads, Prajnanam Brahma in Aitareya Upanishad, Tattvam Asi, Samaveda in Chandogya Upanishad, Aham Brahmasmi, Brihadranyak Upanishad, Ayam Atma Brahma, Mandukya Upanishad. So the importance of the Upanishads in the study of Vedic knowledge. The first Western scholar that studied the Indian culture was a French guy, Abraham Hyacinthe Anquetil du Perron, who translated the Upanishad into Latin language in 1804, and blah 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 blah. All the people, the big cheeses in Western Indology, Then we have a little bit about the pronunciation and the categories of the Upanishad. So we have the category called Mukhya Upanishad, Yoga Upanishad, Sannyasa Upanishad, and Samanya Upanishad. Then we have the Vaishnava Upanishads, the Shaiva, and the Shakta Upanishad. So the Mukhya Upanishads are these: Aitareya, Brihadaranyaka, Chandogya, Isha, Katha, Kena, Mandukya, Mundaka, Prashna, Taittiriya. The Upanishad on Sannyas are Aruneya, Avaduta, Bhikshuka, Brahma, Jabala, Katarudra, Kundika, Maitreya, Narada Parivrajaka, Nirvana, Parabrahma, Paramahamsa, and so on. The Upanishad on the Yoga, the general Samanya Upanishads. Then we have Vaishnava Upanishad, Shaiva, and Shakta. And we start with the Aitareya Upanishad, which is the Mukhya. We start with the Mukhya Upanishads, which in alphabetical order we have the Aitareya. Please interrupt me anytime whenever you want to say something.
Sure.
Tell.
No, I'll interrupt if I
Okay,
have any
thanks.
question, but we can continue.
Okay, so this is the invocation. There is always an invocation. They say, "Oh, may my words be in accordance with my thoughts may follow my words." Or, "Radiant One, please reveal yourself to me." May both thoughts and words, thought and speech, bring the Veda, the knowledge, to me. And may everything that I have heard remain in my memory. I will join day and night in the study, and I will say the truth both in words and in thoughts. May Brahman protect me and protect the one who speaks. So then we go in the chapter 1, the book 1, chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. You say, in the beginning only the Brahman was there. The Brahman thought, I want to create the worlds. And it created ambhas, the waters that are considered superior or subtle, which means the Karana ocean, the ocean of the causes. Then it created Marichi, which means the space. Mara means all that is mortal, meaning the world that are subject to the cyclic destruction. And Abha, the lower waters, which means the material element and gross material element of water that is common, is found in the bodies of all the species of life. Is this clear?
Not very clear.
Well, okay. The
These
Upanishads
are
are more difficult than Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you. Bhagavad Gita is more elementary. The Upanishads are the second year of study, the second step, which means it's very condensed. It's more condensed than Bhagavad Gita. So let's see what is not clear to read and understand. In the beginning, only the Brahman was there, right? So what is a Brahman?
Yeah.
Brahman is Satchitananda, existence, awareness, and happiness. It is non-manifested, which doesn't mean that it doesn't have a personality or a form or a intelligence or anything, you know. Brahman just means that it is not manifested materially. You understand? The word manifestation implies a beginning of existence and the end of existence. Something becomes manifest, means starts to be visible, be experienced. And then after some time, it becomes non-manifest, which means you cannot see it anymore. Now, it doesn't mean that before it didn't exist and after it is not going to exist. This is the beginning. You remember the beginning of Bhagavad Gita? When Krishna starts his teachings to Arjuna, and he says that never was a time when we did not exist. Everyone existed.
Yes.
But all the beings start from the non-manifested state, then become manifested, and then they become non-manifested again. Which applies both to the material and the spiritual. The difference, the problem is that most people think that non-manifested means it doesn't exist. And it came to existence, abhut, started to exist. No. It started to be manifested. It's a different thing. Now, I will make an example that hopefully will help you. Now, you imagine you are on internet and you meet people, like we met, okay? We met on the internet, we had a lot of interaction, we came to know each other, and we could even have done things together like videos and stuff like that. But I was never in your house. So I never manifested myself physically in your presence. So in a sense, I am non-manifested. So any friend you meet on the internet, unless and until you meet them in person, they don't manifest into your house, they're non-manifested. Then let's say that one day I will come to visit your house, which is not very likely, but let's say, for example. So when I, reach your house, I come, I don't know, from a taxi, from a train, from a flight, whatever, but I reach your house, then I become manifest in your house. So you can see me, I can get your kids sitting on my lap, I can eat your food, I don't know, so many things, because these are things that we can do when you are manifested. Now, after some time, then I will go away, I will leave, and I will become non-manifested again. So, when you look around in your house, you don't see me anymore, because I'm non-manifested there. But it doesn't mean I was not existing before I came to your house and I ceased to exist after I left your house. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's talk about the two different manifestations, like the material manifestation and the spiritual manifestation. Okay? Because there is a material manifestation and there is a spiritual manifestation. The material manifestation is created by Mahamaya. The spiritual manifestation is created by Yogamaya. Which means that you can never separate the Shakti from the Shaktiman. Ishvara and Shakti cannot be separated. They are one and the same. So the Brahman is all of that all together, both spiritually and materially. It's everything. When we say Sat, existence, means existence, everything that exists, material and spiritual. The difference is that Brahman is non-manifested materially. Now, non-manifested materially means that it always exists without limits of time, space, and individuality. Is the entire existence. God is all, right? Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Purnat Purnamudachate. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Purnameva Vasishate. It means the Brahman is complete and perfect. So, all the spiritual manifestations are there and all the material manifestations are there. Now, this is graphically illustrated in Bhagavad Gita when Krishna shows the Virat Rupa to Arjuna. You remember that chapter, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in that chapter, there is a very interesting expression that I think is very crucial. When the description says, in that place, Arjuna saw everything at the same time. In which place? You cannot say, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. No. He saw everything, all the existence in the same spot. So the Upanishads speak of this complete and absolute reality that is non-manifested, and they call it Bindu. There is one Bindu Upanishad. Bindu means point. In geometry, you know that the point has no dimensions. So it's infinitesimal and it's infinite. It's the smallest and the largest. Do you follow?
Yes.
Good. I know it's a bit tough. Okay, but I think you can follow. So the everything.
Yes,
Tell. You're saying something.
No. I said that able to follow until now.
Good.
This concept
That's
of
the
this
point.
being
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
few times earlier also.
Okay, so the Brahman is God in the sense that it is sum total of all existence. Why it is called absolute? Because it includes everything. And Krishna is saying that in Gita. Krishna says, everything rests on me like pearls on a thread, like a necklace. All the beads, the pearls in a necklace, are all together in the necklace. So the Brahman is like the necklace. Everything is there. But it's not chaos. Because in the material world, when we have everything in one place, we usually think about a chaotic situation. But Brahman is not chaotic. It's not only the sum total of existence, but it's also the sum total of all awareness and knowledge. Chit, Sat, Chit. And it's perfect. It's a unlimited happiness, Anand. So there is nothing wrong in the Brahman. Everything is perfect. Just it's not manifested in duality. So in Bhagavad Gita, there is a lot of times where Krishna says that one should overcome the illusion of duality. Now, some people equivocate on this, and they think that we should all merge together, like there is no individuality. there is no personality. But this is not what it means. There is no duality, but there is still individuality in the sense that it's not independent individuality. Let's make another very simple example. The Shastra are often making the example of the drop of water, the droplet of water, that finally reaches the ocean and merges into the ocean. Okay? But that doesn't mean that the water ceases to be water. It's not that it becomes the ocean, there is no more water. We can make it clearer with a bit of chemistry, like we know that each molecule of water is 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen, right? So when a molecule of water enters a larger body of water, the molecules are still individual molecules. It's not that all the hydrogen goes on one side, all the oxygen goes to another side, and then they mix and blob. We don't know. There's one big blob. No. Each molecule of water remains a molecule of water. This is something that some people don't understand because they don't have the experience of the transcendental personality. They think that because the Brahman doesn't have one single personality or one multiple differentiated personalities that appear to be dualistic, it means that there is no personality. No. It means that there is not one single personality limited by time, space, and duality. So, Vishnu is everything at the same time. The Vaikuntha is everything at the same time. Brahman is everything at the same time. This is why the avatars, Brahman, the Supreme Brahman, can manifest through the Yogamaya any form at any time, because it completely controls through Chit and Anand and Sat, completely controls all the existence. That's why when Krishna is born on Janmashtami night, first he appears to Vasudeva and Devaki as a baby. Then he shows himself as Vishnu, Chaturbhuja Vishnu, and then again he takes the form of the baby. Because it's not a material body. It's a form that is totally controlled by Yogamaya, by the illusion, the spiritual illusion that helps us connect with God, that gives unity. Okay? And this is also another name for bhakti. Yogamaya is another name for bhakti, right? Because the bhakti manifests the forms, the relationships, the qualities, the activities, the sentiments, the feelings. So that's Yogamaya. Is that clear? You must have heard
Yes.
these things before. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the one thing is...
But there's this second part of this.
Tell.
Yeah. So in this 2 verses,
Yeah.
the second part where it created water and all these things appear to be like, maybe I've not read a Abrahamic text, but somewhat similar things I think are written, like he created that. So this starting appears to be similar to those biblical and
The Bible, you
Quranic
mean?
verses. Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, the Bible
That he
copied.
created
Yeah, the
this, he
Bible
created
copied
that,
the
he created
Vedas.
in
Yeah.
between. Okay.
Okay. let me give you a small window of explanation. The Bible was written, was compiled, as you know, the complete Bible was compiled probably around 200 BC. And the earliest version that we have is the Septuagint version, which was written in Greek in Alexandria of Egypt. Now, the Hebrew Bible, but the only copy that has survived of that Septuaginta version is actually dated the first century of the current era. It's a version that Origen, one Christian guy called Origen, copied and edited a lot. Okay. Now the Hebrew Bible was written probably around a little later, around as I said, around 150 AC, like that, BC. But the only copy the oldest copy that is existing is dated 1000 of the current era. So the Bible, both New and Old Testament, is very recent. And why the oldest version of the Bible was written in Greek, in Alexandria of Egypt? Does the name Alexandria tell you anything? What you know what Alexandria was? Okay. It was a big city.
Alexander capital.
Yeah. Did you hear about Alexander the conqueror, Alexander the Great? Sikander. You know, he came up to the river Indus and was beaten by King Porus, looks like. And, you know, Alexander was a Greek guy. Macedonia was a part of Greece, okay? So he spoke Greek, okay? Now, Alexander came up to India, to the river Indus, and he had conquered all the rest of the world. He had conquered Greece and Egypt and the Middle East and Iran, Persia, and you know whatever he knew there, what was there, in his times, he had conquered. So now he's like, okay, let's go see what is beyond Persia, And after Iran, you have Afghanistan, and then you have India, right? So he arrived to India, and he was beaten, and he was totally shocked by the knowledge that Indian people had. In fact, from that time, India became famous as the country of wizards, magicians, because the Kshatriyas still knew how to use the Vedic weapons. That was around 500 before the current era, right? So what happened? Alexander the Great decided, okay, I'm not going to conquer India, it's not a good idea, but let me see your books, please. So he went back, he left the borders of India with a lot of books. And a lot of Brahmins also went with him. And apparently also a number of Buddhist teachers. So they went back to Egypt, which was a very rich country, a big one, there was lots of space. And they started to build a new city that was called Alexandria, from the name of Alexander. Okay. And Alexandria of Egypt became the biggest city in the Mediterranean, in Europe, practically speaking, Europe and North Africa. And the city was built around the library. There was a big library and a big university. So in Alexandria, from the death of Alexander up to around 60, 50 BCE, for about 400, 500 years, there was a very special cultural development that is called Hellenistic culture. You heard about Hellenistic culture?
I've heard only the term, I don't know the details.
Okay. So the Hellenistic culture was a very important thing because it connected the Indian culture with the West, with Europe. Before the building of Alexandria and its university and library, some people especially from Greece, were already going to India to study. Mostly they were going to the Buddhist bihars, universities and libraries, because the Buddhists, they were teaching anyone. The Brahmanas in the Vedic system of Gurukul, they were very selective. They, each guru could choose who to teach or not. So the Gurukula was focused around the Guru. But in the Buddhist Vihar, the focus was around the Buddha. So the Buddhist universities, Nalanda, Takshashila, and also in Bihar and everything, there was no guru. The head of the university was not a guru, was like a principal, the abbot, the head monk. So nobody was responsible. It means that all sorts of students would come, and learn. The education was very open and didn't require any vows, whatever, and diksha, nothing of the sort. So lots of people, especially from Greece, like Plato and Aristotle, who were contemporaries of Alexander, and also other people after them, they went to India to study, but they didn't become Hindus. They just studied from the Buddhists. And the Buddhists were teaching some philosophy, not much, but some philosophy. They were teaching science, medicine, chemistry, mathematics, lots of things. And, they were teaching people how to read and write properly. So they could also go and find books, whatever books. They had big libraries. So they could find even the Puranas, Itihasas, because those were good for everyone. Even in a Vedic society, to study Puranas and Itihasas, you didn't need a diksha. You didn't need a guru. In fact, the Puranas and Itihasas are known as the fifth Veda, and they are destined to those who were not qualified as Brahmanas. But they're not, you don't need to be Dvija, initiated, in order to study Puranas and Mahabharata. So the Buddhists also taught that. The Buddhist universities also taught the Puranas and the Itihasas. Although they didn't actually believe, but they were, like history for them, okay? So, even some Brahmanas and some Buddhist teachers went to Alexandria. So in this new culture that formed in the Hellenistic period, Greece especially absorbed a lot of Vedic culture. Not only Vedic culture, for example, they absorbed the concept, but lots of mathematical concepts. You know, outside Alexandria, people didn't know the decimal numbers. So in Mesopotamia, they were still counting on the numerical basis was 60. In the Roman world, they use letters instead of numbers. You know, so like for example, if you see now, you might see the name of the new Pope. You know, now is Leo the 14th. So it's written in Roman numerals, which are Leo X I V. Their letters are not numbers. But the X means 10, the V means 5, and the I means 1. So a little like the short vowels in Sanskrit, if you put the letter before the other letters, it means minus. If you put it after, it means plus. It's complicated, but you know, it's not very practical. So the ancient Romans didn't have much of a mathematics. You know, they were just, yeah, okay, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. So, but in Alexandria, they learned a lot of stuff, and especially the philosophy percolated into the culture in Alexandria. So when the second descendant of Alexander in Alexandria of Egypt, the first was Ptolemy the first, the second was Ptolemy, guess what, the second, you know, under Ptolemy the second, the university expanded, so Ptolemy the second called some scholars from the various cultures to write the stories, all the knowledge of their culture. So he called one guy who was called Berossus, who was an expert in Mesopotamian, Sumer, Assyrian, Babylonia culture. Then he found one guy in Egypt who was very expert in all the Egyptian culture. His name was Manetho. And these two are still considered by mainstream historians as big authorities, you know, before Herodotus. And also he called some Jewish people who were already living in Alexandria and said, okay, what about writing down the story, you know, the culture of your, you know, the story of your culture. What is your culture talking about? They never had that idea before. So what happened, you know, these Jewish scholars, they got themselves to work. So they use a little bit here, a little bit there. They use something from the Sumerian culture, something from the Egyptian culture, and a lot from the Vedic culture. Not a lot, you know, anyway. So they started and they put down, they wrote down the Bible. And this went on, and the same happened with the New Testament. The New Testament was only written in Greek, not even, there is no Hebrew version of the New Testament. So even more in the New Testament, especially in the Gospel of John. Okay, now the Genesis was definitely written in that period, but also the Gospel of John was. And there is a lot of knowledge of stuff that the mainstream Christianity has eliminated. But that doesn't mean it was not there before. Okay, are you following this?
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
the idea,
basically,
tell.
what you're saying is from this Indian text only, Vedas only got there, and they wrote Bibles from that.
Yeah, they took
Yeah,
something
old
here and
Testament.
there, and they wrote it down to write their own
Mhm.
stuff. It's a lot like these mythological movies and TV serials. That they're doing. They take some of the ideas and then they build up their romantic fantasy things, and that's it. So the only way to actually
But
understand, tell.
no, but in this, where is Jesus? Like he, like what general understanding that he contributed to Bible. So you're
Absolutely
saying that
not.
there was no involvement
Absolutely
of
not.
Jesus
No,
inside.
no, no, no. Jesus didn't write a single word. He didn't bring any new
No, but
teaching.
he would have like the general. Okay, like what he taught to his followers wrote Bible is what the general understanding is, right? So
Yeah, well,
his
okay.
teachings coming indirectly.
Which
So
followers? That in the last 2000 years, uh, you know, the Christians have killed each other, in the millions because they didn't agree with each other. In the beginning, there were hundreds of different groups of Christians. Then in 1332, if I'm not mistaken, Constantine, the Emperor Constantine, decided that Christianity could be used to control the empire. So he organized the Council of Nicaea, the first Council of Nicaea, and he told all these Christian leaders from different groups, okay, he said, okay, now we have to decide what is Christianity because I want to make it the state religion. So they created Christianity. And whatever they decided it was not good for the government, they removed. They declared heretic. And they destroyed all the books that didn't agree with them, and they killed all the people that didn't agree with them. And it went on, and it's still going on. So,
so
many
we have
people.
something wherein whatever Jesus taught is
Right.
we have any text where we can refer this is what Jesus taught, or
No, we
no, it's
don't.
gone. There is
No, we
no way.
don't. We don't.
Okay.
The most, the earliest version of Jesus' teachings, description, evidence, is the letters of Paul of Tarsus, who never speaks about Jesus. He speaks about the Christ, which is his idea of Jesus. He never met Jesus. In fact, in the beginning, he says himself in his own writings, public, official writing, that he was persecuting the Christians. But at some point, he had he was enlightened, he saw the light, and he had a vision. And Jesus told him, all the real knowledge about Jesus. And he told him that he was supposed to be the main preacher of Christianity. So Paul went back to
So
Jerusalem to the actual.
it looks similar to
Yeah.
it looks similar to what Muhammad said, that Allah gave me vision and now
Exactly.
I'm the
Exactly.
messenger.
Muhammad said the archangel Gabriel told me this and that. And Paul said Jesus told me this and that.
Mhm.
Where in paradise I had a vision. Okay. So he went back to Jerusalem to the actual, companions of Jesus who had become quite old in the meantime, because, it was 50 years after Jesus, after Jesus died. Maybe 20, 30 years. It's not clear exactly what time. So anyway, before the 70, AD 70, the year 70 of the present era. So he went back to Jerusalem to speak with James and the other companions of Jesus, and he tried to sell them, his his package, and they got so angry they beat him up. So he decided to go and preach to the people who were not Jews, who didn't know anything about Jesus, who didn't know anything about the Jewish religion, Jerusalem, or the Bible, the Old Testament, or anything like that. So he went to Ephesus, and he started preaching to the Greek people, to the people who were worshipping the mother goddess and this and that. And then they grew and became, But even what Paul wrote and preached is not exactly what is told today. In fact, in the last few months, I have been researching a lot on this subject, and I found a lot of very interesting stuff. And there are many scholars who say that Paul never existed. The letters of Paul and the Acts of Paul in the New Testament are actually written under his name, but he didn't write them. And the same, the Gospels, the 4 Gospels in the Bible, in the New Testament, Matthew, Luke, Matthew, John, Mark, and Luke, they were not really written by these people. They were just, given that name. But they were not written by those people. So, it's not so clear, and a lot of historical evidence is coming up that it's all it's all fiction. It's all created, fabricated. So, it's quite natural that when these scholars started to write their own stuff, they wanted to make it nice. But, of course, because they were not really experts, they were not really, knowledgeable and understanding, whatever they wrote became a little bit weird and contradictory, and let's say a bit stupid, because they keep saying that we are the body and we have a soul. Right? So they say that God created man from mud and then put some life into man, but that life is the breath of life, which is the prana. It's not the soul. So they don't know what the soul is. They have no idea. So you see, for a spiritual religion that is constantly talking about the soul and they have no idea what the soul is, that it will be messy. Also, if you actually read the Gospels, with an open mind, you compare them, they contradict each other. In one Gospel, something is happening, the same event, the same fact is described in totally different ways. Like, for example, the resurrection of Jesus, it's a totally different picture in the 3 Gospels, and one of the Gospels doesn't even mention it at all. But Paul makes everything about the resurrection of Jesus. So it's very confusing. Now the point is, anyone who reads the Bible with the functioning brain will stop being a Christian. That's what you heard about Mark Twain. He's a big writer from America. Mark Twain. It's quite famous. Okay. So he's famous for saying that reading the Bible is the best cure against Christianity. Because if you actually read it properly, you're like, what a bunch of nonsense, Because it's true, it's constantly contradicting itself, and you don't know what someone is saying. Something is important, and so how many Christians actually read any Old or even New Testament? They have not read it. Like they keep saying, God, Jesus loves you. Where is that written in the Bible? Nowhere. Nowhere. There is not one single verse that says that Jesus loves everyone. Nothing. Jesus only said that he loved his disciples. It didn't say Jesus loves everyone. Jesus loves you. No, unless you are one of the 12 disciples who lived 2,000 years ago, that's not you. That's pretty clear. And and so on, lots of stuff that Jesus didn't say at all. And many things that Jesus actually said in the canonic Gospels, the Christians don't care at all. Like, for example, in the official Gospels, Jesus says to anyone who wants to follow them must leave everything and give up all their wealth, all their money, all their property, and give up their family, and just remain poor. And if someone steals something let's say, Jesus says, if someone steals your coat, give them your dress, give them your pants, even. Don't try to get your coat back. Give the coat to them, and you also give them the pants. If someone slaps you in the face, you just turn the other cheek and and expect to be slapped on the other cheek. If someone borrows money from you, you have to give the money, and you must never ask the money back. Really? Really? This is in the Gospel. This is in the Gospel. There is not one single word about the family values. Now, lots of stupid, ignorant people, Christian fundamentalists, think that, the Bible is a basic for morality and family values. It's totally false. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So the problem is that people don't really go to the source, don't really read and study properly, and they have ideas. That is called speculation. Can be their ideas or the ideas of other people, and they're believing that those ideas, but that doesn't mean that's true. So, if you actually want to know the facts, you have to go and dig, to do some good research. That is also applicable to the Vedic knowledge. Same. There's a lot of garbage circulating in the name of the age-old Vedic, golden Vedic heritage knowledge, which is absolutely not true. Like mistreating women, for example, there's absolutely not a fact. So yeah, lots of stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to go too much out of.
Yeah, we discussed too much on that.
Exactly, we just read 2 verses, and only started to explain 2 lines. But this is, but it's okay. I think like we did for Bhagavad Gita. Only the 8 and 108 Upanishads are bigger than the Bhagavad Gita. And they're more condensed, more, thicker. Yeah. It's like butter, compared to milk. So, in order to digest the butter, we have to put it on the roti. We cannot just eat butter. We cannot be makan choris, just eat butter. We have to start with the milk. We did start with the milk, and now we are going to the butter. Okay, I think we went, beyond our time, planned time. So we can continue next time.
Yeah, sure.
You are happy with this?
Yeah, let's go into details. These 2 verses, just like starting. Yeah,
okay, so
we'll start. Yeah, not divert from next session.
Yes. Well, the point is, another important point is that sometimes when we study something, there is, according to the traditional method, to read it 3 times. The first reading, you don't expect to understand everything. Because otherwise, you're gonna get stuck on the first page for weeks. Especially, if the book is very, heavy with meanings. So the first reading, you go quickly, so that you get a general idea of what is written in the book. What is inside the book. What is not in the book, what is in the book. Then the second reading, you actually examine, okay, I got the point, I know the big picture, let's see the details. So you try to understand, what it means, what it actually means. Then the third reading is even more, deeper, because you actually try to understand in practice, not just theoretically, but also practically. So don't expect that the first reading will be so quick. Especially because, as we have seen, there are a lot of previous conceptions that maybe are not accurate. So we need to clean the misconceptions first. In the process that the Vedic tradition calls neti. We remove all the misconceptions, we clean the field from all the misconceptions, we fill the gaps, because there will be holes. And if you want to cultivate a field, you need a level ground without stones, without holes, so first you have to prepare the ground. You understand? Then, this is what we are doing. We are preparing the ground with the basics, the introduction, and then after some time, when the ground is more level and working better, our work will become much faster and more effective. Okay, so don't lose courage. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll stop here.
You have any copy?
Ah?
Yeah, you have any English copy of this? Maybe unfinished. This book's
No,
English
as I
copy maybe
said in the
unfinished.
beginning, that is one of the
Something.
things I would like to do, but I've not done it yet.
Okay.
That's. I hope this summer I will able to start again working on my books. But because we are recording, maybe you can take notes, or maybe I can translate page by page while we go, because let's see how many.
Maybe we can try AI also. How if we can feed in this, can
Oh, you
we
mean
get
the
good
artificial
translation
intelligence?
compared with-
Oh, okay, you can try.
Yeah.
I tend to
Yeah.
be.
Okay. I'll try. I'll download this book and.
Yeah. It's on my website. Try to download and see if the artificial what the artificial intelligence is going to do with it, and then we are going to go through it and see, have some fun. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay, I'll stop the recording here. Jai Jagannath.
Okay.